English football is all about drama, passion, and the glorious unpredictability of the beautiful game. But what if I told you that one of the most intense high-stakes leagues in the world operates under a promotion system so flawed, even Hollywood stars are calling it insane? This is the ridiculous, almost criminally unfair world of promotion and relegation between League Two and the National League. And today, we're gonna break down why it makes absolutely no sense and they must change it. Okay, so picture this. You finish a grueling season with over 100 points, play breathtaking football, and outclass nearly every other team in your league, but instead of guaranteed promotion like in most other leagues in the world, you still have to survive the nightmare of the playoffs. Let's take Notts County in the 2022-23 season. They finished with 107 points, an absolutely insane total that would have won them League Two comfortably. But because only one team goes up automatically, they had to navigate a brutal playoff just to claim what should have already been theirs. Meanwhile, in League Two, 4 teams get that golden ticket to League One every season. It makes literally no sense. In every other major league in England, those 3 or 4 teams go up and down each year. But here in Step 5, the trapdoor to the EFL is practically bolted shut. Since the introduction of a second promotion spot in 2003, National League clubs have had to battle through an all-or-nothing playoff system, while League Two teams get a relatively cushy safety net. That bottleneck isn't just unfair, it's actively hurting the game. Teams like Barnet have experienced the nightmare firsthand, especially this season as they're going up against the likes of Forest Green Rovers and York City. These teams have been in and out of the Football League in the past, but it's so difficult to return once you drop out. And yet, the quality in the National League has never been higher. The majority of clubs are full-time, the attendances are growing, and the football is frankly better than a lot of what you might see in League Two today. And if you think last season was competitive, the 2024-25 National League campaign is shaping up to be one of the fiercest yet. Like I mentioned before, Barnet, Forest Green and York City have all spent big in their quest for promotion, assembling squads that wouldn't look out of place in League Two. The gap in quality is shrinking massively, but the system still treats them like outsiders. Whenever teams have gone up over the last few seasons, the trend has been that they've ended up doing a double promotion, like with Stockport County and Wrexham. Even this season in League Two, recently promoted Chesterfield are right up there, and Notts County, who were promoted alongside Wrexham a couple of years ago, are equally pushing on to join the likes of Dave Challoner's Stockport and Phil Parkinson's Wrexham in the 3rd division. So why is the EFL so reluctant to change? Surprise, surprise, it all comes down to money. League Two clubs receive around £1.4 million in solidarity payments and TV revenue. The second you drop out, that funding disappears and you're left scrambling to survive. Meanwhile, the National League has long been a financial Wild West, with clubs spending freely but with little relegation. Adding in more teams from non-league football might complicate the finances around the relationship between the EFL and poorer clubs. When Wrexham and Stockport County got promoted in the last few years, they did so with operating losses of millions. But let's be real, if you've got financial backing and you are a well-run club, you deserve the chance to compete at the next level, because that's what football is all about. But the answer to the question is simple: 3 up, 3 down. It works in every other division. It prevents stagnation, it gives ambitious clubs a fairer chance, and let's be honest, it just makes sense. Many National League owners of clubs are pushing hard for reform, but the reality at the moment, the EFL clubs would have to vote for it. And well, if we're being honest about it, they're not exactly going to be eager to make relegation more likely for themselves. I mean, if you look in the League 2 table at the moment, there's a good 10 teams who have just sat there for years upon years, not particularly looking to push on and get promoted to the 3rd division, but equally very unlikely to see them drop into Tier 5 in those 2 relegation places. So what we have is a system where the ones who benefit from the status quo are the same ones deciding if it should change. Doesn't exactly sound too fair. If 3 up 3 down had existed in the past decade, we'd have seen stronger teams make that jump sooner, and fewer clubs left stuck in the purgatory of the National League. It's a change that has to happen, not just for fairness, but for the integrity of the football pyramid. If I was to play devil's advocate for a second, I might argue that there are a few positives to the current system. The first is the jeopardy around the playoffs. Obviously, at the end of the season, the winner goes straight up automatically with that precious trophy, but the playoffs, it's all there. The drama and the stakes have never been higher. I mean, even in the last few seasons, watching it, the likes of Notts County against Chesterfield in the final, Solihull versus Grimsby, it's do or die for these teams who may only get one shot at that elusive playoff promotion place, and they could end up falling right down the table the next season. It really is do or die. So the jeopardy is massive, but the consequences for those who fail to get promoted are equally as big. The reason I'm making this video in particular is because of the new 3 Up campaign, which is being supported by the FSA, and it's basically a protest asking for a 3 Up 3 Down system. The old argument, of course, was that dropping into the non-league game was shameful for the supporters of EFL clubs, that it was a downgrade in status for an entire town or city to drop to the 5th division. But is this still the case? If they hadn't been persuaded before, the attention drawn to Wrexham during their titanic title race with Notts County may have well done. The likelihood is you've all seen that Ben Foster save that essentially took them to that league title a couple of years ago. The quality is high enough, the infrastructure is big enough. Questions about not just the National League and League 2, but the whole of the football pyramid have been brought into question. And the campaign's timing is linked to the expectation that football's independent regulator will officially be established at some point this year. So it may even be out of the hands of those running the EFL and the National League. It might be an edict that comes in that enforces a greater flow of clubs from non-league into the EFL. Let me know what you think.